Good morning, Inshallah. In all the diaspora, I bring you greetings in the name of the Most High, Abba Yah, and of the Mashiach, who is in the most set apart place of the sanctuary as our high priest. Yes, and our Malak. Yes, and with the Ruach of the Most High, Alahaya, that raised Hamashiach from the dead. The Ruach being here with us since the day of Shavuot, 2,000 years ago. He has been here, still is here, and will continue to be here, directing the warfare against the kingdom of darkness and destruction. Bokshakataba. So we come to you, Yasha Allah, to put in another word of encouragement, recognizing the time that we're living in as we press on towards our liberation and reparations. So, according to Bereshith, Genesis chapter 15, 400 years. And also, that nation will I make rulings against, says the Most High, Bereshith chapter 15. So I will rule against that nation for the treatment that they have issued out to my chosen in the earth for 400 years. Okay, so today I want to speak with you on a topic: false flagging the kingdom. False flagging of the kingdom. While we here now are laboring untiringly to come in alignment with the will of the Father as he expressed it in the Mashiach by the seal of Abba Ruach. We also look upon the false flag, the false flagging of Esau, the Jewish, in league with Levi, and of course the Muslim, Ishmael, at the forefront of the activity towards an attempt to destroy the Most High program. According to our opening lesson verses in the book of Psalms, it says, why do the Gentiles, the nations rage, and the people meditate, according to King James translation, the people imagine a vain thing. Imagine now, these people have imagined a vain thing. And we find out that in the 1960s, when what is called today the Hebrew Israelite movement began, that principally it was begun on the premise or premises of the movies and writings of the Jewish, who, under the rule and guide, direction of the evil one, Satan, God, put out those intellectual arguments, books, movies, such as Amistad, Roots, and, a plethora of such works pretending to be, seeming to be works of bona fide children of Yasha, speaking, as it were, against the brutal destruction that was being worked upon the children of Yasha in the 400 years enslavement exercise. Now, Satan himself directed the Jewish to produce these works that appeared to be so plausible and apparently seemed to be valid as genuine material of Hebrew Israelites, being concerned with waking up the sleeping giants. And so, on account of these works that Satan had the Jewish produce, of course, we need to recognize that Satan, as a master mind of evil, and knowing that the ending of the enslavement was soon to come to a state of maturity, may I use that word? Like a fruit that hangs on the tree, and it comes time that the fruit gets ripe. It ripens, and of course it will drop off the tree. Nobody picks it off in time or uses it, to spoil. But in this case, we're talking about the matter of the transaction of valid authority being conferred upon a nation. And here, Satan himself, understanding the prophecy, moved his people to create these intellectual views through the movies and the books that were geared towards rousing up the sleeping Yashualites. We call them Israelite, for the sake of creating the confusion that has continuously been amongst us. I say Satan was at the bottom of it all, moving his people. Esau in league with Levi to create a chaotic situation amongst the house of Yahweh, house of Judah, and of course, it would ricochet to all the tribes of the southern Americas that were already, as it were, taken down by Esau, brutalized and destroyed. And so with Esau's attention on the house of Judah or Yahweh, Satan gave them the plan of putting out this information that would hopefully or presumably would rouse Judah up in a negative way and would spur them on to seek revenge and to hopefully stir up a battle, a physical battle that they could use as a pretext for military conflict and destruction machinery against the reawakening Yashruelites. That was Satan's plans. And his children, Esau, in company with Levi, the fallen priesthood, were working it. So you find that in the awakening of the Yashruelites, of course, the Most High used it as a positive means to bring some leverage to the broken spirit of the Hebrews, the Yashruelites. And so they began to use it, to use the information, the knowledge that came from Amistad and Roots and all those works that Esau under Satan's direction produced. So the thing we have now, or what has come to light, is that these works were indeed spurious to the point that they were works of agents that would give rise to riots and mayhem, bloodshed, and war, if you will. That was the intended wish of the haters that were intentional in the will of Satan, their power to rouse up the children of Yasha'Allah, of the house of Yahweh, to respond with a physical war effort. But the Most High used it according to his will and his way. And so it turns out that the spirit, the Ruach of the Most High, directed and encouraged our brothers and sisters in the house of Yahweh to go into a study, a deep study, if you will, of the matter at hand. And whereas you had characters like Abba Bivens and ISUPK and the Gathering of Christ and others who from the one West were receiving the indoctrination of the Jewish. These, I have to say, under the leadership of the Levites. The Levites were the one who was stepping in the forefront, and leading the narrative to rouse up the tribes, because the scam was that the knowledge of the brutality that Esau did or worked upon the house of Yahweh was such as would easily evoke or bring out a mindset of revenge and hatred that Satan and the Jewish hoped to use to their advantage by having the tribes in their confusion over the fact of not knowing directly who it was that was putting out this information. They falsely believed that it was other Yashruelites or others from the house of Yahweh that was putting out this information. And so you see, if you go back and check it and track the prevailing mindset and determination of those who were infected with this revelation, I might say, this information, until this day, you can feel, as well as you can see, the effect that it has had upon the house of Yahweh and the confusion that still reigns in the midst of us because of that effort of Satan and the Jewish to take a hold of the narrative and lead it for the destruction of the house of Yahweh. I mean, but it's wonderful to see how the Most High has stalled their plans and instead raised up in the midst of Yasha'Allah his chosen ones who would bring forth his word in its truth and power. And so we have the going some back and forth of camps, what they call Hebrew Israelite camps, going back and forth one against the other in the attempt, in the desire to bring the correct understanding of what the word or the message of this movement should be. And so the few I might say diligent ones, the ones who were committed and are committed to righteousness, had to really study to get to the bottom of the matter and to find the truth of what actually was going on in these camp meetings. I mean, camp meetings that were discussing the plight of the fallen house of Yahweh that was in captivity. And you'll find that, as I said, it was the Levites, the fallen Levites, who were leading the narrative incognito, hiding themselves as they did being back in the days of the Messiah. They were the Maccabeans. And then they went into hiding. Like the scripture says about Esau, I believe in the book of Jeremiah, where it says that Esau has hidden himself among the people. It is the same protocol that Levi followed. And I much think that it was orchestrated with the help of Esau, that the tribes on a whole were being hidden, as it were, under the command of Satan and the Jewish. So it seemed that they were hidden with such diligence that the whole world was on this path of search for the lost tribes of the house of Israel. Remember that term? A term much bandied about. The hiding of them was under the auspices of Satan, who fully knew the scriptures and that the time of the ending of enslavement would come. So he according to Revelation, the frogs that was spitting out these doctrines, 3 unclean spirits like frogs that came out of the mouth of the false prophets, were putting out this information to cause confusion. And again, it took the few righteous, dedicated brothers and sisters to capture the essence of the indoctrination that was coming about through the misperceived rising of the Hebrew Israelites. It took a diligence from the true believers in the midst to overcome the campaign to derail the righteous ones in the midst of us from plunging into the study, and thereby to bring out the truth of what that movement was about. What was the true intention and desire of that movement? And now we know. Praise Yahweh and Bahasham, Mashiach, and Warawah. Give praise for that. That their intentions have been on earth, been, pushed out. And now we know what was brewing, what was Satan trying to accomplish. Of course, according to the book of Yohanan, chapter 10, that the thief comes not but for to kill and steal and destroy. That was the purpose. This is the purpose that was at hand. Praise the Most High for diligent brothers and sisters who are willing to face the challenge and to dig deep into the scriptures to bring out the revelation of truth as to what was the true hidden intentions of that movement. And now here we are. We can look at it. What was the basis, or the basic truth that came out of that whole movement spawned by Satan and the Jewish? I think it's not a hard question to answer. What we have found out about most of the camps that came out of one West and the people who were taught by them, we discovered that the seal of Solomon and the star of Molech was the leader of the chart to guide our people where the Jewish powers wanted them to go, being that these stars, star of the seal of Solomon, the 5-pointed pentagram star, Molech, was an ancient destroyer of our people. And so Satan, through the Jewish, made every effort to keep it prominent, keep it as a guidepost. And you saw, until today you see, camps in Yasha'Allah sporting the star of Molech that is on the banner of the Jewish flags and so forth. All right, but then the primary or the most potent effect of the putting forth of all that information, that knowledge from, as I was saying, the books and movies that were pretending to be of genuine materials produced by the House of Yahweh from the Jewish. And we see the result of it, that there is this satanic hatred against the Mashiach. That is what was at the basis of the programming that came into the midst of the fallen house of Yahweh under Esau and Levi. So rebellion against the knowledge of the Most High, and then particularly the Mashiach. It's all against the Mashiach. As the Psalm says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Because they take up the fight of Satan that he began in the Shamayim against the Most High. And actually directed at the Mashiach, that the wisdom of Solomon tells us about through envy, Satan's envy, that he passed on to our first mother, Hawa, or Eve, and she took it up. I mean, she has taken it up in a way that the whole world has seen, her mannerism, her manner of being, the way she conducts herself, the way she has conducted herself in the public arena against the Torah of the Most High and against the men of Yasha Allah. We thank the Most High for the few who have begun to learn of what is the real manner of character that they should be upholding in the Torah. And so we have this battle today where the situation of the ancient priesthood that stirred up the people of Yahweh in the homeland to bring about the crucifixion. That same hatred was recaptured by the Jewish injection of the materials that they produced in the 60s that raised up these brothers who were intellectually, thanks to the Most High, intellectually battling over the information and the knowledge that they had gotten from the false flagging Jewish. And so the Most High kept the lid on the control of the movement so that brothers didn't take up the physical arms that the Jewish, through Satan, was intending that they would do to create the bloodbath that they wanted to create for Satan. So here we are. We are at this point now where the effect of the ancient hatred against the Mashiach that came with the fall of Satan and his followers from the Shamayim and the Ketobo, and that has infected our women through Mother Hawa. You know, the book of Enoch tells us how the women were led by the demons to, to their brand of cosmetology that we see warned about today. And besides that, the whole array of knowledge that the demonics communicated to our women that they took a hold of and have been led, guided, and directed by these demonic philosophies, I might say, that has held them in bondage and kept our men and women separated, because the women have this ideology that they won't settle when the men are seeking for a peaceful relationship with them. They won't settle because they got that envy in them from Gadriel, the fallen, who was envious against the Mashiach and the Shamayim. So the women have taken it upon themselves to hold to that. And that's to them, that is a banner of pride, to hold out and not allow the order prescribed by the Most High in 1 Corinthians 11 that the Apostle Shaul reiterates even after the crucifixion. Because you see the ruling powers of the earth thought that they had everything under control, that seeking after a permanent righteous relationship in the order as it was set up by the Most High was a thing of the past. That's how they thought about it. And so it has been in their mind that they would be able to obliterate the the Torah, the work, the principle of the Torah from the midst of Yasha Allah, and our women under Satan is leading the charge. We come to correct that, Yasha Allah. Don't we? Yes, we are looking forward to the way out of the captivity, to our release from this cruel bondage that Satan set up with the help of our women, with Esau and Levi and Ishmael, and then all the others that are outlined in Psalm chapter 83. All right, so verse 2 of chapter 2 in the Psalms. First verse says, why do the heathen rage? And the people imagine a vain thing. The kings of the earth set themselves against Abba Yahweh and against his anointed. I mean, the rulers along with them take counsel. So says the verse 2, against the Most High. Imagine that. The maker of heaven and earth. They're standing up. Well, yes, they stand up as if to make a showing of having the ability to counteract his works and what he intends to have accomplished in his world, in his kingdom. So they stand up against his anointed, the Mashiach. That's where the fight is stationed, against the Mashiach. And so the works of the Jewish in bringing forth the information they were bringing forth was to create such an antagonism that was being principally led by the Levites, the Haitian brothers and sisters, children of the Maccabees. So with the coming forth of the information that the Jews were putting out, we've seen the effect of it. How our brothers and sisters are going back and forth with the information and knowledge, and seemingly not being able to settle for the truth. And the diabolical Levites being right on hand, up front, but hiding themselves, knowing that they were against the order of the Torah that sets forth the Mashiach as the Father's beloved. Again, this is where the fight is. This is where it has been and still is. The fallen Levitical priests were the ones taking charge of the Jewish works and direction in those works to lead the house of Yahweh astray. And besides, as we have been able to show you, as they were in agreement with Catholic Church hierarchy in their hatred for the Mashiach against the beloved, the Levites became heathens, yes, and found their way having fallen for what became to them a prize of rejection of the Mashiach, so that they took on the burden of the anti-Messiah. And so, but we want to concentrate now on this theme of the people and the kings of the earth taking counsel together against Abba Yahweh and against his anointed, the well-beloved, Hamashiach. And so they made this covenant among themselves to break asunder the house of Yahweh, as Esau had already done to the tribes of South America. Now they come to deal with what we call the house of Judah. And Levi was on hand with his rage against the faith of Mashiach, or the faith in Mashiach, to exalt him as the one whom the Father has appointed heir of all things. According to Hebrews or Hebrews chapter 1, the Father appointed him and anointed him the heir of all things. And the Levites are wishing to maintain the service of the tribes to themselves. They wanted to be served as the Messiah should be served. They didn't want to give it up. So they raised hell against the Most High and against the tribe. And what we have had in agreement with Esau was mayhem, chaos, rebellion, and what we see in the midst of Yasha'Allah in general is unbelief that springs out of the action of the fallen Levites, who have been on that run since the time of the crucifixion under their forefathers, the Maccabeans. Got to bring it to you straight, Yasha'Allah, so we have an understanding of where we are and how we got there as we chart our way under the leadership of the Ruach. We chart our way forward out of this captivity and leaving behind the star systems of the enemy. Now, in accordance with Psalm chapter 2, as the Mashiach has come or was sent, ordered by the Father to come and to do a service of reconciliation among the children of Abraham. That is, the chosen children who became Yasha'Allah, 12 tribes. And now in Yahweh, the Messiah was born according to the plans that were set forth in the birthright offering unto Esau that he rejected, that he refused. And so the birthright was passed on to Yaakov. You see? And in that, Yaakov brought forth 12 sons, along with the daughters. But the 12 sons came forth and eventually created a nation with the wives that they had married. And some of them were heathen wives. In any case, the nation came forth. And so the history of this nation that came forth out of Yaakov, that were the cradle, the the basis of the cradle that would produce the Mashiach, who would be the Malach over these 12 tribes, his messianic community that has been fought against all through history, the history of our world, since the call of Abraham. And these 12 tribes being the community of the household of faith and called the people of Yahweh that he gave to the Mashiach, that he sent to redeem these people. And the rebellion of the people themselves against the Most High was such a disheartening thing, a disheartening event for the Most High. And when you go into the scriptures, you see the fight that was going on. You see the rebellion that was had in the midst of the 12 tribes against the Most High. So we find that the Most High, he says, "I'm going to do something for these people, these rebels," and he said, "I'm going to do it for my own name's sake." So he took the blame, the load upon himself, as was necessary, because we obviously were not fit or able to bring it forth, even though many of the hearts of our fathers were willing, as you can see in the case of Abraham. He made every effort to follow the rules and guidance of Torah of the Most High. Of course, the children, being who they are, brought forth a system of such rebellion that we see epitomized in Levi. Didn't want the Messiah to come forth. He wanted the worship of the tribes unto himself. That's what Levi was trying to accomplish. Cause his downfall, caused him to take on the anti-messiahship upon himself. And then after that, he wanted to create an environment of offering sacrifices unto the Baphomet, Satan, to appease his situation. And he chose, or that they chose, Levites, they chose to align themselves and put themselves in the position of accepting the anti-messiahship against the Most High, against the Mashiach. That's where the anti-Messiah seed is, right there. We are qualified to tell you, brethren, in Yasha Allah, that you may escape the wrath that's coming against the fallen Levites. We thank the Most High for those brothers and sisters who have made up their minds that they would follow the Mashiach, take their place as kings and priests, along with the rest of the tribes, the rest of the 12 tribes, Yehuda and Ephraim. We are priests under the Mashiach. He's the head, chief, high priest, and Malach over the household of faith, household of Abba Yahweh. So says the book of Hebrews, Ibrim. And now, as the Mashiach has come out of that cradle of Yasha Allah, coming into the earth, well, the prophecies are all through the scriptures anyway. Once he got here, among the apostles, whom they call the disciples, we look at Matthew 25 and verse 34, and see the Mashiach, the word of the Most High, speaking the truth of the Most High, Yahweh. It's his word speaking. And he says, in Matthew 25 and 34, Matthew 25, 34, he says, then shall the king say unto them on his right hand. Listen what the king says. Come ye blessed of my Father. So who's the king? The king is the Son. You got that? Come ye, blessed of my Father. This is the king talking. The king of the kingdom, of the Messianic kingdom, the 12 tribes. Inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Now, you know, the kingdom order was disrupted when Gabriel came in and gave the plan to Mother Hawa, who accepted it and influenced our father Adam to adopt her acceptance of Satan's plan because of his heartbreak over what she had done. But Mashiach comes to restore the kingdom. Adam had it when the Most High brought him forth and gave him a lovely companion to assist him, not to be his ruler, as is going on today in churchianity, teaching our women to rebel. Made him a lovely companion in our first mother. Beautiful, exquisite, you know. And but here the king says to them on his right hand, the Mashiach says, Yahushua says, Yahusha says, Yahushua says, come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. See, although the kingdom order and mandate was disrupted and essentially cast aside because of the envy of Satan that our first mother latched onto and adopted. She adopted that envy. And so because of her envy against the law of the Most High that was expressed to them in Bereshith, in Genesis, that you do not touch that tree or eat from it. That was the law. And because of her envy that she latched onto with the lie of Satan, that envy led her to take on Satan's word in disobedience to the Most High. And the weight of grief on our father Adam led him to sacrifice himself for her. That's actually what happened. For you who do not understand or who did not understand, he sacrificed himself for her because of her disobedience. And so you sisters, this word is coming forward to help you, to strengthen you, to return, get back to your place. We're on the way out of captivity. And we got to do it. We got to take the Torah seriously and do our best and our utmost to comply. We give it our best. And that's why the Mashiach is in the set-apart place now and making intercession for the saints, as the apostle says, according to the will of the Heavenly Father. In this interim period, our Malak, our king, our high priest, Mashiach, is in the most set apart place, making intercession on our behalf because we are being kept we have been kept by war and every method that Satan could devise with the help of his people to keep us from doing the righteousness of the Torah in a physical way. In our hearts, we believe and we were striving, as the apostle says, that with our hearts, we keeping the Torah to the best. We're keeping it in our hearts. We believe and we want to do it. But we have the interruption of Satan and his people and all the demonic hosts fighting against us. And so again, the Mashiach is in the set apart place, making intercession for the saints according to the will of Abba Yahweh until this storm is passed over and we come out of this enslavement. So the king says, "Come, ye blessed of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world." All right. Let's look again at some more kingdom invitation in Luke chapter 22. Luke chapter 22. Luke 22. Verse 29. Well, let's start from verse 28. Mashiach says, the king says to the apostles, "Ye are they which continued with me in my temptations, and I appoint unto you a kingdom, as my Father hath appointed unto me." So he's saying to them, the kingdom that Abba Yahweh appointed unto me, where we read of in Psalm chapter 2, and then again spelled out in Psalm chapter 110, verse 4, also spelled out in Hebrew or Hebrews. I forget the verse at the moment, but the verse is same as what is quoted in Psalm 110 concerning the Mashiach, that he was made a purpose to be made a king, Malak, according to the order of Melchizedek. And this had to happen because of the rebellion of the Levites. That's why the Most High had to seek himself out another king, or a king from another tribe. You see how it works, Yasha Allah? The Most High gave Levi privilege to emulate the character of the priest who would show forth, encourage the nation to honor the king. But the Levites wanted the honor of the king, and so opposed him and would turn away the tribes, as we have seen in the efforts of the crucifixion, when the Maccabean priests moved the people to say, "Crucify him. We ain't got no king but Caesar." All right? This is what they did to try to achieve their aim forgetting about the Most High's claims. And so we hear the Mashiach being triumphant, as always. He calls his people and he says, I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father hath appointed unto me, and which we see as ratified in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, when the order of the kingdom is laid out as that the Mashiach is head of the assembly, and the man, brothers, are next in line under him as kings and priests. Women cannot be kings. Get it out of your head. All right? So the order is set forth again, as I'm saying, in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, or 11, pardon me. It's Mashiach and the brothers and the sisters. That's the order. And so the kingdom that the Mashiach has appointed, as he had appointed unto the apostles that were with him, is the kingdom he says that the Father appointed to him. Let's look at it again. Verse 29. And I, Mashiach, appoint unto you the apostles, the house of Yasha'Allah. I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father hath appointed unto me. So this is his kingdom that the Father gave to him, that he is appointing as a shared community with the house of Yasha'Allah. That's the deal. And so, as we seek to have ourselves in the presence and power, direction of the Ruach, to have ourselves made ready for entrance into the kingdom of the Most High Yah that he gave unto the Mashiach. Remember now, I encourage you, brothers, and the true brothers and sisters of the faith, and encourage you who have been lagging behind and not making up your mind on the issues, on the matter, that the Levites, the fallen Levites, have been leading the charge of rebellion and unbelief against the Most High because of the appointment of the Mashiach as our head, whom the Levites were against. You want to seek the Most High in all humility and submission. Receive. Accept the mandate that he has passed on to us. I'm talking about our Malach, our King, Yahushai, Yahusha. The mandate that the Most High had given to him, he states it here. I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father hath appointed unto me. And so the same kingdom that he has appointed unto the Mashiach brings us into it. As Ibrahim or Hebrews tells us that Mashiach as a son over his own house, whose house we are. We are the dwelling place for the Ruach. Tashi Kunte Debu. And so I'm encouraging you, brothers and sisters, keep the faith, be strong, and move on towards a victory. Our release and escape from this satanic bondage that has been upon us for worshiping a star system of the seal of Solomon, the star of Moloch, that is the leading figure on the Jewish flag, star of Moloch. Bless you, Yashala. The Most High bless and keep you. Cause his face to shine upon you and give you shalom. So let it be. Isha. Yeah, come here, please. And this thing box come up. I need to save this because I don't know how to come up here. Should I punch save or not? I was trying to get it, but it didn't respond. So should I save this? Oh, I was scared to punch that.